Hola, yeah, it's me again. Sorry, I was just almost switching off everything to go downstairs, take the drink downstairs, and so on. The usual box of fruit hydration now will be not just a 4 liter, but just fruit juice, liter and liter. So now I was just watching one of the videos that I posted today, but I was producing 2 summer ago. Is Pass to the Moon and so on, and of course there is the description and so on. And suddenly when I was it's a short, so I was clicking, I say let's see if the description is visible. I was pushing the button and highlights all, like when you are trying to highlight, because then eventually you copy, you paste and so on. This happen quite often every time I do something. If I'm at work, an email, a report for the work, something that to be given or something. I write, suddenly everything get all disappear, like with the usual cut and so on, or eventually just get hidden as eventually have to make the control Z something or the control past to put it back. And usually this imagine was happening even now over here because I was um, looking for I say looking for the description. I push the button for the description, and if you see over here into the short, there is a post on a side where you say you can click description. It was done the same things. It highlight, so I say now I was. Usually it cannot be cancelled because when I see in the outside from the channel, not from where I can add a video and so on. But suddenly there was a voice, something you have done that. From the previous slide I was doing, these people say something about I'm doing the live now as I was doing the live before. If as soon as I stopped the live, I stopped the transmissions and so on. It's was not anymore myself over here. They do even with what I write every time I write something. Now I can show over here the description because anyway it's published in my channel and so on. So it's visible to everyone. And there is the description about the coincidence are quite funny with this video that I was planning 20 days ago to publish, and today, of course, I publish. And I realized when I was opening the app of the GoPro that it was 2 years ago today, the 23rd of June. As I said, that I'm quite used to the coincidence in my life since a child. And usually it was so funny because I say I was, of course, born in a Catholic place, believing in God. Uh, Teaching anyway, training, educated to believe in God, and I was quite believing anyway in God, in a superior entity, and so on. So usually I was apart from the prayer and so on, you say at night time, at school, and so on. And then you take the sacrament. I was always or telling in the morning when I was wake up, or in the evening, thanks to God for the beautiful day, and so on and so on. You see my mind, of course, I was not speaking loud voice. And I say it's something quite funny. There was always plenty of coincidence in my life. It seems ever since a child, quite magic, and so because I was starting to notice, and then of course when I grew up with my attention to detail, when I started to study science and so on. So what can be a coincidence? What cannot be a coincidence? What can be human effect? Human configuration effect? Or what can be natural, mother nature configuration effect? So I can distinguish that. There's something about training, about prediction of event, what is caused by humans most of the time. If the usual one, with the usual behavior, with the usual mentality, is very predictable. As I'm doing when I describe the things, they are very predictable because they do the same, always the same things, always the same technique and so on, as the one that I showed now. And natural, even mother natural, because physicists translate mother nature behavior in math, in formulas, in but it's just because it's so is even language, or anyway mathematical language, is something that expresses some sort of thing that has a coherency or something like that. So it's something quite nice, because as I say, in this way, it is. I did a post 2 years ago, and I will post soon when there is the right day. They inspired me, that particular feeling that I experienced in that time 2 years ago in summer. I was trying to theorize these sort of things into the way, of course, this, of course, destiny, the magnitude of our destiny, and so what happened in the casuality, and the matching the numerology behind casuality, behind the event, and so on, the math, even the difficult and complex math that can be behind and theorize really what it happened, until, of course, able to predict and so on. I was even involved in some research project for a specific, where there was the need of predicting something, or at least trying to get some sort of border in between those events that could happen, and so on, those numbers could match, and so on. Anyway, so this is the things about the the things that were happening. So apart from the usual voice that irritate you time to time, it was quite fun. I was doing a live in my mobile. I was last year. And at time to time, there was a speaker of a voice. They usually name it in some sort of way, because people, they feel so empowered, like they are, even because you say, when you think about big, powerful people, if they abuse of their power, they result criminals. They cannot hold that power. But there is sort of attitude of people that use it to abuse their power because they don't deserve the power. Because people that deserve the power that they have, definitely they never will abuse of the power, and so on. Because there's a sort of wiseness into the power. Holder. Giusto un secondo che sto registrando, cortesemente. Ti ringrazio, puoi andare fra 2 minuti. Quindi, what I was saying, there is these sort of things. So I was already noticing this sort of. There was this voice from the speaker. The wife was doing live. Say, "Okay, you agree in that?" I say, "I was sitting live. Have you heard the voice? Because I'm not agreeing in anything. Like, we're taking authorization on myself. Okay, grazie. Yes, you agree in that." Something like that. I say, "Oh my God, it's shocking, unbelievable." There was all these flies, even in the music app that I was using. I was in the morning, as today, every there, and especially Saturday and Sunday, preparing the breakfast, preparing the bread or something. And then I was putting a bit of music, and there was always these flies in my app. I was annoyed. I couldn't even listening anymore the music. And I'm not using anymore. I'm just using the vinyl now to listen a bit of quiet music, not this sort of disturbance and so on. But anyway, so as I say, today happened just now, the same things. So this is the things that I was writing, just to make you know about what I'm talking. So, funny coincidence, 2 years ago today, summer 2021, I was on, and I was preparing all the things and documents I needed for the first holiday after COVID time, Milan and Vienna. Feeling as ready to jump out from my open eyes dream window, I used to stare at when daily life seems too heavy to carry on. Anthropology and sociological study describe how since a century traveling and immigration have been almost an escape from bad working conditions, unpleasant social and cultural environment that refer to economical and or political distress. The most were the backers of the American dream, as the dream of an independent life in full of own human rights and freedom elsewhere. Today, immigration has becoming a war. It has become a war. Most of the international conflict, national and local crime can almost always be correlated to immigration or immigration issue. Stolen identity case, high skill priority stolen, smuggling of job opportunity, other being happiness and future. My American dream arrived to the age of 7, as I was doing, telling in the live. I still hold it in my dream window over my unknown future. Send it reason as signature and so on. So this is all. So there are plenty of description, because usually you see the post, the video, but time to time you don't look at the description unless you are scrolling with the post where there is the white description open up in a window. But usually most of the, I don't know if the people it's used to read the description. They say most of the time the video might not say anything, but at least the description explain the background or the meaning of what there is into the video. So usually my video have always a post. I was doing actually the weekly videos. I was training myself on being on a schedule or training a video, as I already said. I was doing the post with all the things I was doing that week. If I had something, I did a trip or working, or was doing some cooking, some movies, and so on. So in future I will post some video where there was even the movie I was watching at that time. Many I want to see. Many I've seen already. Many I want to see back again, because usually I'm used to see the movie, some particular movie. One record has been 3 times in the same day. One of a movie called Le ali della libertà, in English has another title, and there are in all the movie, and most of the movie, especially there are some that I've seen 10 times. Most of them, the one that I was keeping in mind, were catching my attention since the first time I was seeing it. So when I was a child as well, I was seeing 3, 4 times, 5 times. I always, because I'm different, because when I see each time, because I've lived much more, because unless I see during the same day 3 times, it might be quite peculiar, but it was catching my attention quite deeply, as I say, that movie. But others, of course, when eventually I seen some 13 years old, then I'm 19, then at 25, then at 28, then at 30, 40, and so on. I myself, I'm always myself, but I'm different in the background that I pass much more experience. I can understand much more the detail of the movie, what there is behind. Before the movie, time to time, many shots and shooting, there was no meaning anything. It was just plain action movie, plain action shooting, or whatever sort of the dialogue. Time to time, I was even memorizing the dialogue and so on. And after years, were completely enlightening in some sort of my personal life experience and so on. But anyway, so this is all. As I say, I'm printing out all the description, because I'm planning, as I say, to publish it as soon as this project, for this reason, for me, up to at the end of the summer, at least some coherency for a project that then will be the publishing of this writing at the end. And so it's something that hopefully I can do quite often. But I say most of my projects have been interrupted for this reason, because as soon as I was seeing some other people trying to postpone create me trouble with a sort of poisoning, stress, and so on, to postpone this project, and then they take as excuse, no, we do for her because they're wise and something, and then they show up with car. I bought this car at the villa that with my own things, so it's something so disgusting. Anyway, so let's hope at least to be able to publish, because the pamphlet 2 years ago gone, the project to publish, not because it's gone, because at some point I will publish, of course. But I say something quite annoying that then eventually they think, of course, it's impossible they publish my own pamphlet, because it will be the third war will be, because it's unbelievable. So I would can with personal memory, personal writing, they demonstrate that no human dignity, no sort of sensitivity to the human life experience and what you write. They don't understand, because perhaps they never and wrote anything. They never created anything, never lived or experienced or felt anything. It might be robot, might be no, I don't know, because I don't know the scientifically the level of perception, empathy, dignity, and so on in a criminal mind, in people that are insane. I have no idea. I didn't do a specific scientific, but when these things happen, they demonstrate really have some sort of luck. There is the human sapiens, and so on, evolution, and so on. And there is this sort of problem, and then eventually, when nothing is happening, it's all in her mind, is crazy or something, and then of course, where the financial guard will check their money from there where it come from, then they might discover even I have no idea, but they should figure out where then end up to be the brother, the father, you don't know who is my father, this sort of when I hear this sort of thing, you don't know who is my father. Why should know? Why is this? I will tell to my father. What you have to tell him? I don't care. Oh my God, if he has something to. The problem is something I ask so many times, even live recording. But these people, if I have something, instead of waiting myself going out and trying to get in, intimidating people to let them in, or whatever sort of thing, why not ask me face to face directly? Why are you so scared by me, by myself, or by me? I have no idea. Why they don't do that? Because they know it's a crime. I will tell them no. So if they know that I will tell them no, this is quite peculiar because they know they are criminals. So I'm not defaming anyone because they know, because otherwise they will come face to face to me and ask whatever eventually they think they can. I will explain them. Look, you are all my own things. I will not give to anyone. I will not sell to anyone. And one of the right, no, even to be in my what is published. They eventually, if because if are criminal, perhaps they have not even the right to technology, but I say look at the video, reading it, and so on. The one public, the one that I'm not published, that are my own thing that I will publish in future for my own use and my own whatever sort of enjoyment, entertainment, gain, and the gain, of course. Eventually, myself and the company that where I'm publishing the things, of course, hopefully, all a trusted one, because there is even the antitrust that do this sort of job for the company, and even in financial market where there is this sort of issue, they get the antitrust and say, okay, here there's something is happening wrong. The antitrust and the company itself in collaboration try target to sign who is the mela marcia, is the wrong apple inside the company. So it's something quite something that should happen and so on. But anyway, so it's all for now. I think last video, of course, it was not. It was just happening right away. But, and this is one of the description. As I say, I have the plan of mounting the creation of a description, and there is, of course, when I create into the video this one and the other one. That I was doing before. I always do a nice video with the usual app and so on. And so will be the making time to time. There is even into the movie. There are some. They usually. I've seen some, but now I'm planning to see more because I can take some technique. I can they show time to time technique. Perhaps usually when I watch a movie from a camera side, there are something that is still a mystery. For this reason, I was planning to do some course both on writing scenographic things, both on how to shooting professionally, because there are some mounting of that I don't know how they can do. Of course, they cut the piece, but the actress should stop every single sentence. I have no idea. I still have to figure out, or with a distant camera, but distant with a zoom. I should be so usually when you see there are small environments, so they say the camera where they are. So time to time, it's curiosity. Maybe I would like in future eventually, if will be possible, I will go hopefully in I will go eventually for traveling abroad, in a place where they shoot a movie, or even in the external part. So I can watch like how they can do the shooting with the camera. It can be even helpful for myself shooting and so on, because most of the things that I do, I learned the watching, simply watching, and now a bit of experience I've done already with the mounting and editing and so on, some video. But already when you start to shoot the movie, already there you have I usually I'm able to imagine, I do the shooting over here, then this, so I mount already in my mind. There is a bit of mounting, of editing of the video and the picture and so on. Then of course when I have all the material, it's quite easy to do. But anyway, so it's all, and goodbye to everyone, and that's it. The the example of the stress that is not useful, I suppose, because anyway, uh, what should be useful apart stressing me, apart from what not useful, because I will produce on the making of this recording of this reading. I will produce a video, so will be anyway a video with most of the things that I read or I said and so on, the background of the creation of the making. So just for no idea, wasting my time, it stressed me out. No idea, make me appear quite peculiar, but as I say, prefer to be peculiar, but as I'm naive, even if, as I say, usually in my normality, I'm so organized, so perfectly in everything, so baseline of normality, because even if in my unicity, of course, but usually, as I say, there is always a reason for behavior, or out behavior, or pseudo-normal behavior, because there is always a cause. What is the external cause? Because what they have to, usually they should concentrate, and I don't mention who, but they should concentrate on who, when there is an internal cause of people that commit how to behave, violate the law, violate the right of people, violate the privacy of people, violate the technology of people, and they think they are in the right to do. And when it's an external cause, that is completely different. When it's an internal cause, even in the roast case, when an internal cause is a problem, internal problem, they could take an innocent that pass and just without no reason kill for no reason, because they don't like the hat, they don't like the eyes, they don't like the red hair. That's a pathology. When there is an external cause, anyway, that the foster might be poisoning, might be sort of harassment. For example, I was doing in my reporting some example. If you see, for example, with a red t-shirt, always is much more. Detectable from your eyes or something, but for example, there are some sort of stress. If you see always a person with a white hat or a red hat or a black hat, in coincidence, it happened to you something very, very bad or something all the time, all the time, all the time. This might foster some paranoid something. So the coincidence is quite peculiar, because there are people that play with human beings and make people paranoid until they don't commit a crime. There is some sort of, I call them to define and describe in my report, sort of confraternity, organized crime in confraternity, in sort of a secret group and so on. But as I say, usually they should distinguish this sort of thing, because pathological people is pathological, and they are part of this game, and they are sort of pathological people and so on. But not all, as I say, just when to define in some sort of way, sort of organization, they do these sort of things to people, because otherwise the normal people in the normal routine behave always in the same way. Myself, as I say, my normal routine, there is always, when I work, a packed day and so on. It means that usually I work out of work, apart from eating, cooking when I can, and then there is always hobbies that I never make them missing in my life, because otherwise I get very, very stressed. I was doing a school time, usually it was or of course the TV out of the room, studying before, of course, study, and then of course hobbies. But then in the break, I was going to sing a song or to dance or to watch a movie after finishing, of course, the homework. Sport. I always did sport. I think I didn't do sport during school and university time, just 1 year in Hull, so I started at 3 years old to do sport. I stopped just 1 year until the degree. Then, of course, when I was abroad, already walking, it was unbelievably stressing and as I say, physically challenging and so on. But then time to time I did the sport even abroad, then starting to work and so on is much more difficult. But as I say, usually I try to keep myself. Then I start abroad, I start to dance. Quite, almost every evening I was doing a salsa dance. I was spending 3 hours without no stop dancing. It was quite a peculiar time. So I was, of course, studying, doing research for all that, and going home, change, and spending at least 3 hours every evening. Because otherwise, staying at home, I was not living in a nice place and so on. So I say I stay at home every evening. So I was always getting out, and really really enjoyed quite a lot at that time, and that's it. So as I say, normal people do normal things, do normal life, need to stay or spoil other people's life, don't see their own aim in being successful based on other people work, on other people creation, on other people live video or writing and so on. As I say, in a life it's better to play the lottery, and because as I say, usually in my year in university, I think it was the first year, there was a professor that was doing a lesson to calculate the probability of winning at the lottery, just to dissuade the people in playing, because they say the probability is so tiny that it's not even quantify. You cannot quantify it. So I was not playing so much before, but at some point it can be even a psychological technique, because when the surrounding, the local, the country doesn't ensure people the right to, not just to happiness, the right to a job or the meritocracy. Of course, my God, the only thing that apart from providence, the lottery, so it's a support, a psychological support, not so expensive if you play reasonably, but it's much more healthy than instead of trying to go or to get into violating the privacy, violating all the human rights in other people's life, and trying to wait. Let's see if someone has some talent that they can make out of it, non villa, non thing. So that is unhealthy, definitely unhealthy, criminal, unhealthy, a cultural things, maybe a cultural things. There are plenty of places very well known for criminal culture or something like that. But of course, it's something that today in 2023 should be quite out of normal, out of normality or something like that. But much more for people like myself, I never angered to with any sort of, people that stayed quite a lot of school time after outside and hung with people, and myself always sport, university, room to study, time to time getting out. I say apart from when I was abroad, that of course it was just casa, home, and I would say boîte in French, boîte, or dance floor or something. So it was the two, my own two. At least you need always two. Otherwise, it's quite stressful. So when I was working full time, I was going to the gym, doing taekwondo, and to the spa, to the steamer room every evening. So that it was my two things in life to hold. One for a profession and one for just stress out, mainly just stress out. Anyway, so it's all, and goodbye to everyone.